Hey, YouTube, let's do this.
They look so radical. Hearing your words, they sound fanatical. Something inside reveals you're magical. Oh, how can I get enough? You're a strange animal. That's what I know. But you're a strange animal. I've got to follow. Stick a line in your system, analyzing the defenses you hold, trying to open wide, hoping to step inside your soul. But everything here is unfamiliar. Nothing they've seen remotely similar. How can it be you're so peculiar? Oh, how can I get enough? You're a strange animal. That's what I know. But you're a strange animal. I've got to follow. Whoa. To follow, I got to follow. But you're a strange animal, I got to follow. Oh, I'm in the spiritus. Wow. Oh, you're a strange animal, that's what I know. But you're a strange animal, I got to follow. Wow.
And hey, everybody, welcome to Squatch Talk. I'm Pat. How's everybody doing tonight? Glad you're here. Welcome to the show. What's up? 3PO, B, Dennis, and everybody else who may be watching, and especially all you time travelers from the future who be watching after the fact. Welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate each and every single one of you, even those who might talk crap, but whatever, right? So, feels good to be back. Feels good to be doing a show. There's some things I want to talk about. Number one, how to talk to science. Some discussions broke out not too terribly long ago about that, and I was kind of dying to dive into that, so I will. And then a few other things like you know, just small little topics like, does Bigfoot have language? Are they human? I don't know. We'll get into that. But again, thanks everybody for being here. I do appreciate it. It's been a minute. I haven't really been able to do a lot of shows, and I had a window tonight. Kind of going for it here, flying by the seat of my pants. Wasn't able to wrangle a guest in. I did try. I tried to wrangle a guest in, but yeah, wasn't happening. Just the last minute stuff, man. It's hard to do. But I will do a better job of planning out shows in the future. I promise. So let's jump in. How to talk to science. So I don't know. Imagine yourself as a Bigfooter, whoever you may be, or whatever your placement in the Bigfoot world is, casual observer, engaged observer, researcher, opiner, whatever your role is in the Bigfoot world. Imagine yourself at a coffee shop waiting on your order, strike up a conversation with, the guy or gal next to you, and, yeah, blah, blah, blah. What do you do? Well, I'm a primatologist at whatever university. Really? Where does that conversation go from there? Like, you swim the waters of the Bigfoot world, again, whatever capacity. Where does that conversation go? Because, oh my God, you're a primatologist at a XXX university, whatever. Holy cow. There's some things I want to say to you, right? So, I say this because it's important. It's important, number one, to be prepared for that random moment. Again, whoever you are. And number two, you might would be interested in, reaching out and bringing that into your world. Again, bringing somebody into the bubble, the Bigfoot world bubble. And there's not a lot. Number one, there's not a lot of people doing that. And I'm not sure why, but maybe some of these people want to have those conversations with the kind of the appropriate professionals. And I'm not just talking Meldrum, you know. Obviously, Meldrum is firmly planted inside the Bigfoot bubble. And, all I could say to that is if you ever get a chance to talk to Meldrum on a show, whether you're there or you're hosting the show, don't ask him the same 10 freaking questions that everybody else asks, because he has refined his answers, and I'm not criticizing Meldrum. The answers are pretty good, but I'm not talking about Meldrum. I'm talking about outside the Bigfoot world, because I think it's important to actually be able to have conversations with actual professionals, scientific professionals, and some other professionals, outside the Bigfoot bubble. But there's a way to do it. And I have some experience in that. I'm not saying I'm the end all expert or anything like that. I'm not making any claims that I'm some expert. But looking around the Bigfoot world, I definitely have more experience than most. If you dig back in the channel just a couple of shows, I was able to post a conversation that I had with a primatologist from outside the Bigfoot bubble, and it was a pretty dang good discussion. It was framed as a debate. The debate never happened. And I've been exposed to other things way outside the Bigfoot world where I had to stand my ground and discuss the phenomena in a responsible way. So that random coffee shop encounter, like with a like, oh, you're a primatologist. Here's what you don't say to them. Man, I found some Bigfoot tracks on my property the other day. You don't lead with that. Even if you did, even if it was a Bigfoot that left the tracks, you don't lead with that. You got to meet these people in the middle. And so I wanted to talk about that. Because it's important to me. I think it's important to the overall understanding of trying to get more answers. I really do believe it's going to take people from outside the Bigfoot world to help get those answers. The Bigfoot world is not going to solve this. It's just not. Sorry. Just some, 1 in a billion chance of luck, random luck, maybe. But so that's why I think it's important is to be able to communicate, because if better evidence were to kind of happen, you're gonna, yeah, you're just gonna have to navigate those waters. So for me, I'll just say personally, for me, it's that number one, I'm 100% willing to engage with any skeptic on the planet who's outside the Bigfoot bubble, the Bigfoot community bubble, and I've done that. Again, dig deep in my channel. You'll find 2 shows with Benjamin Radford, not a Bigfoot guy, but a well-known skeptic. A show with Brian Dunning. Again, not a Bigfoot guy, outside the bubble, and a skeptic and these guys are, you could call them professional skeptics, right? I say number one, learn how to engage with a true skeptic. Now, I'm a skeptic. I'm a skeptic, and just so happens that I swim these waters, and you know, so I'm kind of already here. I recognize the phenomena as being, 100% legit, real phenomena that has not been answered. So that's kind of where I'm at. Some people shy away from me. But I would like to see researchers and other podcasts and hosts, and people that are profiled in the Bigfoot world, like, you have to be willing to engage with a skeptic, a Brian Dunning kind of skeptic, a Benjamin Radford, and others. People that are willing to have these conversations on air, live, in front of, what would be a Bigfoot crowd. And so I think number one, you have to learn how to talk to these people. Now there are some people I know that are really good at this. I would say at this point, out of everyone I know, it me and Leon are the 2 that most poke out of the Bigfoot bubble. So Leon's really good at engaging with media, talking about this subject. He's done it before. I think he's doing it now, and he'll do it in the future. So Leon's really good at it. He's not afraid to engage with media. and talk about the subject like responsibly. And and then I've done that too. I've been on some of these other channels talking about the phenomena and trying to keep things reasonable, discussion in check, while also having to fend off some very serious questions. Um, it it's not easy to do, but I think it's in everyone's best interest. Anybody who's having discussions, you can't just keep that compartmentalized in the chatter, 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 chatter of the Bigfoot world where, everything is just covered in Bigfoot sauce. You have to like grow a pair and get out there, stick your neck out, even though it might be nerve-wracking, and have an actual discussion with people outside the Bigfoot world. To me, that's very important. And so the road to do that is number one, man, you got to be able to have an honest discussion with people like me in the Bigfoot world. I put that video out. Um, I think it was the last video I put out. The sort of like, hey, show me your evidence. Like if you're a researcher, like show me what you really got. Like, do you have anything really compelling? And man, let me tell you, it's been crickets. Now, do I think I'm important enough that every single researcher has seen that? No. I should probably reach out to some people. I should probably send that video to some people. Um, but still, it was crickets. Nobody stepped up to the plate. Um, so if you can't engage with me, how do you think you're ever going to get engaged with science? Um, so that just goes back to, are you just trying to feed the Bigfoot community what they want, which makes you not very serious at all? Or are you actually trying to get answers? Because it can't be both. You got to pick one. At some point, every researcher has to pick one of those things. And again, if you pick the alternative to just feeding the Bigfoot world a bunch of Squatch sauce or Bigfoot sauce, then you better learn how to talk to these people and meet them in the middle. So I think that's important. Build your case, learn how to talk to them. So again, talking to skeptics is the fastest way to build that muscle, in your brain, is to talk to those people first, and then you'll learn how to talk to that primatologist you might run into at the coffee shop, or you might send an email to and get a response from. Because I think those conversations are very important. That is definitely the direction I'm moving in. The more professionals outside the Bigfoot world that I can talk to live on air, I will. Like out of anybody. Like I'll bump Meldrum. I'll bump, every famous person in the Bigfoot world just to talk to some random actual scientist and pick their brain about the subject in a theoretical way. At least a theoretical way. Um, so yeah, I think that's how you talk to science. If you want science involved, and some people recognize that's kind of a must at this point. The very first bridge you build is the proper way to communicate with those people, which again isn't, oh man, I found some Bigfoot tracks. Like, and not in even like not the man, I saw a Bigfoot, so blah blah blah. You can't project that onto other people who, don't understand the phenomena. Like, you have to woo them in. You have to give them something to be interested in other than, man, I saw a Bigfoot. You have to. So, yeah, that's just kind of my stump speech on that. It's important to do. I'd like to see more people doing it. Like, there are definitely people out there I trust, like people like Brent. If Brent randomly ran into a primatologist at a coffee shop, totally trust Brent to have that conversation in the right way. People like Jeff, and there are others, you know, people in, the circles that I'm in and have been in, people that surround me. I trust a lot of those people. So, but me and Leon, we're really the only two that go outside this bubble of the Bigfoot community and have those discussions there. And I'll keep doing that. I know Leon will too. He won't, you know, he won't refuse an interview with anybody talking about Bigfoot, you know. So yeah, that's kind of what I got with that. But also knowledge is power, right? So the more the more you can kind of speak the language. And I've been bad about that. I've been bad about that. Like my whole thing with Erica, like uh the one thing that really sucked about my conversation with Erica was that I was not well versed on ancient human history, and it showed, and I had to kind of like throw up the white flag on that and say, man, that's above my pay grade. I'm just here to talk about. I was so hyper focused on the current phenomena known as Bigfoot. So that would be a way different discussion today, and one hopefully that I could still have with her. But yeah, so I mean, I was pretty ignorant because I don't like, man, I'm not trying to take college courses on freaking anthropology and stuff, dude. Like, I don't have time for that. Yet, in that amount of time, I've actually learned a thing or two about a thing or two. And so like recently, sort of I think an interesting discussion which will tie into that all of that is this idea of, do they speak? Like, do they have language? You know? So do they have speech? Do they have language? Um, that's that's recently come around in a sort of a more interesting scientific way. Um, and of course, Ron Moorhead being sort of at the center of that with the Sierra Sounds. Take them for what you will. Um, it's verifiable that they were recorded in the 70s. That much we can verify. So if it's a hoax, whatever. It's not like a modern hoax. So whatever that is, it kind of always centers around Ron, because he's been the lead presenter of the Sierra Sounds, obviously. And so that brings up this idea of speech, because it does kind of sound like language, right? It sounds like they're communicating in a way that is not grunts or just some simple form of communication, but more like language. So so that brings me to other species, human species that had language, which would be Neanderthal and Denisovans. Certainly had language, they had the anatomy for it. and all that. Um, even if it can't be proven that the Denisovans had um, anatomy for it, they certainly did. Like they were kind of more advanced than we were, modern humans. What became modern humans at the time, they they were very intelligent, capable species that probably outclassed us at the time. Denisovans did, and so they certainly had speech. They had language. They were able to communicate with each other, and so does Bigfoot. And I mean, forget the Sierra sounds for a minute. In my opinion, if these things are flesh and blood, undiscovered hominins roaming around us still, I mean, they would almost have to have speech or language. I mean, they would almost have to. Um, I just don't. I don't see any way around that. Again, like talking about the Denisovans, like they would have to. I mean, they crafted amazing tools. Um, they had these crazy bone needles and jewelry and stuff, man. Like you don't get there without speech and language. You just don't. Um, so Sasquatch, like my opinion is, yeah, they probably do have language. I don't know if that was captured on, the Sierra Sounds or not. To be honest with you, the whole thing with Scott Nelson, I would like to see 20 Scott Nelsons. Um, you know, not just one guy claiming a title that doesn't exist in the world, you know, uh, whatever it's called, crypto linguistics or whatever, like crypto linguist, whatever it is, like one guy claiming a title that doesn't exist. I'd like to see 20 more experts weigh in on that. Again, you kind of might have to go outside the Bigfoot bubble to get opinions on that. Um, Again, kind of important. I think that's a good direction, not a bad one. Um, you have to realize, man, the scientific community tears itself apart all the time. And in the Bigfoot community, any kind of vetting that's ever done is very it's just kind of casual. There's no like official officiality to it, man. Whereas in the science world, they have these things called scientific journals and peer review. And the version of peer review in the Bigfoot world is, making a comment on some claim in Facebook, or making a comment on a YouTube video, or making a comment in chat during a show just like this. Like that's the version of peer review. And or opining, like doing an entire show, which I've done in the past, about one particular thing, whether it be a claim, a group, a person, whatever. That's our version of peer review, and it sucks. So it's okay to criticize. It's okay to opine about things. This guy's a hoax, or that's a hoax, or we're not sure. Like, I mean, I want to take that stuff deep, man. Like, like there's a lot of narrative about we know a lot about the anatomy of the foot, and I'm like, not really. That's a huge claim. I challenge that. I peer review challenge you. You know, like I don't think we know that much about the anatomy. I think that's kind of a leap. It's very subjective. Um, so we don't have an organized way of talking about things. That's why things just get talked about, like in the way that I'm doing now. And of course, I push harder than most. Um, I'm willing to stick my neck out there and really ask these questions and say these kinds of things because I think it's important. And you should too. Um, again, 50 plus years, man, the Sasquatch community has answered that many freaking questions. I don't know, might be time for a change, right? So, so that being said, can they speak? I say to that, if they're flesh and blood, I reserve, whatever percentage for it might be something else going on here, which we also wouldn't understand. If they're flesh and blood, they most certainly speak. They most certainly have language. They would absolutely have to be able to communicate with each other to pull off what they freaking pulled off. And that's at the end of the day, man, what that is avoiding modern humans 99.999% of modern humans. And keeping the modern human species unaware of their existence on this planet, which is amazing. But there's only one way. I mean, there's not just one way. There's a very key element to that, and that's called communication. The ability to communicate with each other. Similar to us, like a language. Unless they mind speak, that's how they communicate. Then again, that's a road. That's an offshoot road, right? Um, so yes, they have language. They can definitely communicate with each other, just like the Denisovans could. Like, it's clear Denisovans could communicate, even if we don't have the correct fossil anatomy to show that. Of course they did. Again, they were making tools way more advanced than we were back then. So yeah, communication definitely is there. Now, that brings us to what the hell are they? you know, Again, something like, when I went into my, when I went into my debate with Erica, like I was completely unprepared for um all the primatology knowledge that was, thrown at me. Because I'm like, dude, I didn't go to school for that shit, dude. Like, I don't know. Again, I'm only focused on here and now. Like, who cares? I mean, who cares about the fossil record, right? Like, now I do know a lot more than I did know then. But and I will opine to that is that, you know, so they're bipedal. So things we know about Bigfoot, they're bipedal. They walk on 2 feet, right? Um, I, you know, they would again. I'm going to fall back on this. They have to be able to communicate with language. Absolutely have to. And they seem to interact with it. They don't seem to like us very much, but that's kind of my opinion. They interact with modern day humans every now and then. Um, so where do they fit in, the history of Homo sapien, and it would, there's got to be a slot there for him, or some weird offshoot that is impossible for everyone to wrap their head around. And he walks like a duck, man. Walks like a duck, talks like a duck. They fit into the human genius. People describe them with human features, hooded noses. So I'm not saying they're modern day human, but they definitely fit into the human tree. They almost have to be if they're flesh and blood. And I think that's where, like when Erica was asking me some of those questions that I half-ass understood, you know, I think there's some validity to that, because here comes the tough pill to swallow. Well, dramatic pause to light a cigarette. Here comes the tough pill to swallow. The really head scratching. What the road do we want to go down here, ma'am? You know, Neanderthals were human. Denisovans were human. They're in our modern day genes. Some of us, not all of us, have Denisovan or Neanderthal, really, but a lot do, which means we bred. So if Sasquatch fits into the human species, that means breeding's possible. Now, that's not a road I want to go down. It's actually an uncomfortable thought. Almost silly, right? And plays into some of the, narrative, some of the Nephilim narrative. I don't like that either. But if they're flesh and blood, they got to fit in there somewhere. And again, they walk like a duck, quack like a duck, and they kind of fit into the human species. And again, if you're going to go with anecdotal, like eyewitness account, like hooded noses, wide mouths, blocked teeth, more human than chimpanzee. That's for sure. So, that's something to consider. Again, it's not something I'm super comfortable with. But it's something to think about, man, because they would have to have their niche somewhere along that lineage. So I don't know, man. So yeah, I'll address this. Like maybe, like we don't really know if we wiped out those other species like Denisovans, Neanderthals. Like we're not 100% sure of like kind of why they went extinct, except for except for the DNA that we carry with them, but that specific sort of the way they were then, not sure. Maybe we just outperformed them. Um, I, I I don't know that it was a war, a species war that caused that. It could have just been natural. But obviously, yeah. I mean, if this Sasquatch thing is running around North America right now. Like I totally get the sentiment of, well, they should avoid us. But again, there's contradictions there. So I'll bring up something I said last night. I'll shift that gear after. Yeah, chat's doing what it's doing, talking to itself mostly, which is fine. I'm glad I could facilitate that. So I'll bring up something I said last night, if I can pull it up relatively quickly. Which, wow, actually, I actually want to bring up the response. It was an interesting response. Just give me a second, guys. Sorry. The computer's being slow. The Wi-Fi is maybe not working too great either. So, come on, where are you going? I hope everybody's doing well tonight, especially you time travelers. We appreciate you the most here on Squatch Talk. So, if you like what you're seeing, if you've never been here before, if it's your first time, feel free to hit that like button. It helps me out a lot with the algorithm. And if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe, man. Hopefully, we'll have some interesting shows coming up in the near future. And I cannot find what I'm looking for. Yeah, where's Tim? Tim. Where's Tim? Oh my god. Oh, this is maddening. Oh, man. Okay, there it is. I found it. Okay. There we go. All right, I'm back. Sorry. Hit it, knuckleheads. That's right. You tell him, 3PO. You tell him. What's up, Jeff? Jeff and Matt are here. Interesting. What's up, guys? Glad you're here. Thanks for watching the show tonight. I appreciate you guys much. You know that. So, let's see. I asked an interesting question last night, or I guess it was more of a statement. It wasn't a question. And let's share that. Yeah. There we go. So I'll just go over here and kind of read it out. Matt. Yeah, so I don't know. I felt compelled to make this statement. I just did. I wrote, they are everywhere, yet nowhere. They are giant, yet move silent and fluid. They come in close to camp, but always away. Someone is lying somewhere. These contradictions can't actually exist. And that's how I felt. That's how I feel. I feel there's a lot of contradictions when it comes to, again, the narratives of talking about things that happen, especially from the research people side. That's mostly what I'm talking about. I'm not focused on any one anecdotal account, but the researchers just love to say these things. So I shared this on Coalition for Critical Thinking. Great group, by the way. Don't be afraid of that group. Go ahead and join it. Voice your opinion. Nothing wrong with that. So I got an interesting response from a guy named Steve. He said here's what skeptics can't wrap their minds around. What if an animal existed that in evolved an intelligence on a similar level to humans, but that intelligence evolved in a different direction? Instead of becoming adept at science, tools, social constructs, etc., it evolved for a high level of wilderness survival to live, hunt, hide, and avoid detection for self-preservation. And what if there were very few of them? It's not hard to entertain this concept. It requires no woo theory, no blind belief in magic. It explains why researchers find nothing while campers and outdoorsmen accidentally encounter them. I thought that was a really good answer to my statement, you know. Um and so I appreciated that. So and man, it almost has to be the case that it's something like that. That again, it's something that falls into our tree with its own niche that is quite opposite than ours, obviously. I mean, we go to the moon. We put shit on Mars, man. Like, we're pretty badass, right? We have fighter jets and fucking all kinds of cool shit. Now we got, Chat GPT, AI, answer any question you got, you know? Um, so it would almost have to be that, they are one of these species in uh, one of these subspecies in the greater human species. And I know, man, that terminology can be controversial, but I'm just using scientific terminology. We are modern day humans. I'm not saying that they are modern day humans. What I'm saying is they fall into the human tree, like Neanderthal, Denisovans. Who again, Denisovans looked that shit up, man. They were making like bone needles and jewelry, like 3/4 cusp jewelry. Um, man, they were advanced, very intelligent. Um, I'm just saying, Bigfoot would have to fall into the human tree somewhere with its own niche. And just because we don't have a fossil record, like that's not the end all. We have to get current modern day observation and evidence. And of course, that has to go way beyond freaking tracks and like I'm done with the tracks, you know. Um, tracks. We have tracks. Yeah, great. I don't know. Um, yeah. And so that kind of all ties into again, how are you going to talk to science about it? Like, I fully admit I was very ignorant talking to Erica when she started throwing a lot of philanthropy and things like that at me. I'm like, I don't know. Uh, you know, learn more and just be ready to talk about it in a reasonable way that they can understand. You got to meet them halfway. A great way to like pop your cherry on that, so to speak. Sorry, I don't know. It's 2023. I probably shouldn't say stuff like that. I apologize. Um, a great way to like introduce yourself to that is just have a hard discussion with the skeptic, even me. I don't care if you like me or hate me, you know, just have an honest discussion with me. Be willing to have an honest discussion with a Ben Radford, who's been on my channel twice and gonna make a third appearance, I'm sure. Like, step up to the plate. Again, this ties back into my last video about evidence and stuff. It's like, step up to the plate. Up your game. Be willing to have these conversations. Because now there's a group of people that are having these conversations, whether you're there or not. But to be a person in the Bigfoot world, if you just want to keep smothering Bigfoot sauce all over everything to get views, and that's your goal in life, fine, whatever. Like, then you're never gonna discover anything. Ever. You're never gonna give answers. You're just gonna string people along. But there are good people, man, who are trying, and I'm trying to inspire those people to up their game. Because that's all I could do right now, sitting here with the only power I have is this computer and this camera, this microphone, and my voice. With 1,000 people standing behind me. Like, that's it. That's all I could do, man. I'm not gonna go out in the woods and kill a Bigfoot, you know, and I don't have the technology I need to attempt to observe them. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that's a fact, you know. And so all we can do is have these conversations and have them better, and hopefully show the right people. It ain't all Bubba, kooky old Bubba out there, talking about Bigfoot impregnated my wife or whatever, right? Or the Janice Carters, and like all that stupid crap, man, right? All the kooky shit, you know. Like, what is it? What was it? They want something to keep mosquitoes off of 'em, like vinegar or some shit. Like, oh, they come around and they want vinegar to keep mosquitoes off them. Like, man, we got to get past that. We got to show the actual people who might could help, who might could actually do a real eDNA, um, thing, because Bigfooters can't. I don't care what anybody says. Whoever, if you disagree, if you're a Bigfooter and you think you can get an eDNA study done, call me, because I'll tell you just how wrong you are. No, you can't. You can collect all the eDNA you want. Doesn't mean you could ever get it properly examined. That drives me nuts. Look, if eDNA is interesting to you, guess what? It's going to take people that aren't Bigfooters to do that. And even DNA, which, there's some avenues now with actual DNA and potential hair samples and things like that. Yet those things are sort of in play right now. But I mean, still, man, the net could be cast wider, you know. There could be more professionals involved that aren't Bigfooters and don't have Bigfoot on the brain and all that stuff. Oh my God. I'm beginning to talk in circles. So I'm probably going to wrap it up. I think I've made my point. I hope I have. If not, feel free to make my point for me in the comment section below. Please feel free. I will not get offended. And again, hit the like button. If it's your first time here, subscribe. I'd love to have you here. If this is the kind of discussions, and you can dig deep in the channel, there's a lot of good discussions that have happened on this channel. Then more of these discussions are coming in the future, because that's the direction I'm mostly pointed in. I might still do some fun stuff here and there, or do some solos here and there. But this is the direction I'm going in, and I do want to like hold feet to the fire. I want to have the right conversations. I always have, but more so than yeah. Or hey, where you been, buddy? What's up, man? Yes, I'm talking science today, Jorge, and you know me, man. Not I'm not afraid to engage with the skeptics or scientists. And so I'm trying to convince others in the Bigfoot community to do the same, and a pathway, you know. So what's up? Glad you're here, man. Um, hope you'll come back soon, man. I'll be doing some more shows in the future. Might have you on. Might have you on, Jorge. Like I'd love to have you back on sometimes. Um, this is interesting. Until we have a body, preferably a live one. Ooh, don't know how that happens. Um, Everything we discuss is pure supposition. Footprints, DNA, hair, saliva, etc., is nothing without a specimen to compare to. I agree. I agree with you in principle, but if we can get some green arrows pointing in the right direction instead of the wrong direction, that's what I call moving the ball down the field. That's kind of my goal. Like, my goal isn't to drag a Bigfoot into town. It's not my goal. It never will be. My goal is to move the ball down the field with whatever means I have to do so. And so to me, it becomes a green arrow, more of an interest, that kind of thing. But I appreciate your comment. It's an accurate one. It is accurate. Green arrows. That's right, man. Garlic. That's what it was. That's what it was. Thanks, B. Garlic. It was what did I say? Vinegar. I think I said vinegar. I couldn't remember. Man, they trying to keep them mosquitoes off them, so they come asking for garlic again. Just so happened I didn't have a camera to take a picture of them asking for garlic, or even a shoulder-mounted VHS. That could be done. Sorry. So yeah, I think that's it. That's about all I got. I'm gonna wrap it up. Right, that good old Janice Carter. See, I mean that stupid crap, man. If you're somebody in the Bigfoot world that's seriously talking about Janice Carter as a serious person that seriously interacts with Bigfoot, just keep doing what you're doing and stay the hell out of what needs to happen. Like, you know, ugh, it's frustrating. Sorry. I mean, that you just live on air captured a moment of frustration coming out of my body, like a demon. Like, there's no point in talking to those kooks, man. Just kooky people. And a part of me wants to show just how kooky they are, but I'm like, well, whatever. They shoot themselves in the foot, dude. People either believe them or they don't. I don't think there's much in between. But yeah, Janice Carter is a nut who I think has like mental problems. I say she's a nut. Am I picking on the weak? Because I don't want to do that. You know. But like what's come out of that has been some weird, almost dangerous stuff at times. Anyway, yeah, Bigfoot. Yes, Bigfoot can drive. Yes, they can. Anyway, well, I like Ernie's thing. Ernie says, "Let's just get him drunk." That's what Ernie says. He says we should just get them drunk, throw them off their game. I'm not sure how to convince Bigfoot to, I don't know, eat fermented fruit or drink, some kind of fruity, wine or whatever. I don't know. I don't know anything about alcohol. I'm very ignorant about alcohol. Um, um, Ernie says get them drunk, throw them off their game. I'm like, brilliant. Not sure they would take the bait, but brilliant. Mm. Petey, come here. So anyway, I'll wrap it up. So I think Petey's got some parting words. You guys can ask him questions. I don't know. This might be a thing in the future. We'll see. Petey, come here. You want to be on the podcast? Come here. Good. Oh, good boy. You want to be on the podcast? All right. So I think Petey has some parting words, and again, you can ask him questions if you want. He will answer. Yeah, cool, Kaiju. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, again, I'll have that discussion with anybody, including Ron. Which one thing I heard Ron say, I just want to call one thing out that I heard Ron say recently. He said that the Sierra sounds were beyond the human range of vocals, and that is not true. Absolutely, it's been like there's videos of people impersonating the Sierra sounds within the range of them being recorded. So Ron was wrong about that. He might be wrong. He might be right about the quantum world, but he was very wrong about human beings being able to produce the Sierra sounds. It is 100% proven possible. And with that, bring in Petey. Hey, buddy. Oh, wait. Let's take this down before what? Hey, Pat. Thank you for having me on the podcast. Yeah, you can put the microphone behind me because I don't need it. I'm very powerful voice here on Squatch Talk. Hello, chat. I do have to. I need assistance from Pat because after all, I'm just a doggy, man. Like, what do you think? This is magic or something? But what's up? I'm here, and look. Here's the thing with the stupid Sasquatch. It's real simple, okay? I'm just gonna say this. Like, I had a conversation with Doug Hijack last week, actually, and he said he needed DNA sample. So I said, you know what? You, uh, if you need DNA sample, it's very simple, Doug. I will when I see Sasquatch out in the woods, I'll bite him. I'll bite him. Wait, hold on. What's going on out there? I don't know. Man, I think it was a cat outside. I'll buy him and I get all the DNA sample you want. I get flesh, I'll get hair and blood because I have very, very powerful jaws. And I would bite that Sasquatch and get the DNA sample you need. So I encourage everybody, if you listen, if you see Sasquatch, just bite him, man. Just bite him. So I mean, it's kind of simple. Just bite the damn thing. And they'll go run off afraid of me for sure. It's a very strong, powerful doggy. And yeah. So anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about on the podcast tonight was let's collect some DNA and bite Sasquatch. With that, man, I think I'm out. I'm gonna turn it back. I'm gonna turn it back over to Pat. But peace out, Squatchers, man. Bite him. Whoa, Petey. It was crazy, dude. I do not like endorse Petey's recommendation. If you see a Sasquatch, like, do not bite them. Okay, don't try and bite them. They'll probably just rip your freaking head off, right? Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate all of you being here. Interesting discussion tonight. Even though I didn't have a guest. But hey, doing what I can do to move the ball down the field. I'm just trying. Step up your game, researchers. All of you. I don't care. Like, I love a lot of you. I don't know a lot of you. It doesn't matter. It's not personal. Not personal. It's just let's move the ball down the field. And with that, I bid you all good night. You may see me sooner rather than later. I'll just leave it at that for now. And thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. Say whatever you want in the comments. As long as you don't talk shit, you say whatever you want. All opinions are welcomed here. Let me repeat that. All opinions are welcomed here. If you, like me, think that Sasquatch is the offspring of the flying spaghetti monster, you're more than welcome to put that opinion down in chat. Just don't talk shit. Love you guys. See you later.